That's mental. He just literally killed her.
Home Sweet Home was the title of this episode, but for one of our characters, they will not be seeing home anymore. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. It is the season 3 premiere of Raising Kanan. Earlier on the channel, earlier this week, I did do a video about my reaction to it, and you've seen a wee clip there at the start of this video. I kind of just knew. I knew Detective Burke was going to die, and not through spoilers. Like, when you see characters pretty much say goodbye, relationships end and they lose their job, they get suspended. It seemed like the only way this was ever going to go for Detective Burke here was catching a bullet. But before we get to the end, a lot of people have caught bullets. We begin the episode with the almighty. We've got people in the hospital. Raquel's in the hospital. The police are doing their rounds. There's a lot of dead bodies hitting the streets of Queens. And New York, mob man, he's not happy. But Marvin, obviously he caught a bullet. Thankfully for us and thankfully for Marvin, it went straight through, which for me is good news because Marvin, I think, is the best Stark. Well, actually, no, he's not Stark. What's it? Laverne Thomas? Marvin Thomas? There we go. Aye. Marvin Thomas, yeah, so that's obviously his name, obviously. Kanan and Raquel get it for DEFCON. There's a few mentions of DEFCON in this episode, but yeah. But even that shows you how much of a straight OG that Marvin is. I mean, he was clearing up the mess here. He was getting rid of the bodies and sorting everything out, like the money and all. And not so much bodies, but the money situations. Wow, shot. Straight OG, straight gangster. Yeah, we got Lou. He's kind of off the bottle this episode. He's freaking out, giving his statements, and obviously his girlfriend and his music career is now down the drain. But we're seeing people getting interviewed. Burke gets suspended because she kept going about hard, and it's like, holy shit, man! Like, did Burke have a death wish, man? Seriously, because like what was going on here was absolutely insane. It's like, there's just no way, Burke, you were ever going to get away with keep on mentioning these things. And it actually forced Hard and Raquel to actually team up here and go to Ken and be like, this is what we're going to do. So, well, actually, this didn't really, I guess, the news coming out for Kenan forced their hand here. And once those three had spoke, you kind of quickly realised that, not all is well in Camp Burke here. She's probably going to die. We see her pretty much end a relationship with her girlfriend ends the relationship with her. We see her go in with her dad to the meeting. Pretty much did not look good. Like, oh, you're obsessed with fucking hard this, fucking hard that. Not looking good for Burke in that regard. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Raquel's getting pressed, but the FBI, Hard's got them on a leash here because he's essentially, leading them down the path that Crown Camacho is the drug lord and he is the guy, and obviously he's went AWOL. No one really knows what Crown's body is at this point. But then, as they return from the hospital, Kenny kind of goes off on one in front of Marvin, Jukebox, and Raquel. Says basically about his dad, and then Marvin's like, hold on, Defcon's dead, what do you mean? And then Laverne, Kanan leave. Raquel reveals to him that it was actually hard, and Marvin's like, why didn't you just tell me? He's like, well, it's not something that would come up in normal conversation now, is it? To which Marvin then visits Lou. Lou's getting drunk. Lou's drunkenly he's like, you know what, did you know do you know Scrap wasn't even a fucking rat? Marvin, do you know how serious this is getting? They pour a wee drink out for big Scrap. R.I.P. Scrap, man. And Raquel's new dream now is to pretty much get out of this life. We have a few scenes with not Warrell, what the hell you call him? Unique, that's his name. His brother's out of jail. Who's his brother? I am not too sure who his brother is at the end of the day, but his brother's out of jail. Looks like he could cause a bit of headaches around where the big man lives. So we'll see how that goes, to say the least. But in terms of what else happened this episode, obviously they had the funeral for Jukebox's mum, but again, it was kind of an awkward thing. Jukebox didn't go, but she was sad about her mother's belongings. And, her mother did do some pretty bad stuff to her last season, jobbed her out at an early age, but I mean, it's still her mother, so it was a sad scene enough there for Jukebox. Marvin went to the funeral, but then he walked out. Sal went to the top guy in New York, and he basically said, Sal, you lay fucking low, and by the way, you're going to buy some expensive fish from me. Big man. But essentially, what this episode came down to was the big confrontation at the end. Burke meeting with Hard. Hard gets into the car, they're talking. She's like, you know what, I want to say everything I've got to say, and then you can react, whatever. Basically reveals everything. She knows, Defcon's not Kanan's dad, you're Kanan's dad. Kanan's the one that shot you, yada, yada, yada. And Burke's pretty much saying, like, keeps ranting on, then Hard just pulls out his gun and shoots her. And it's like, holy shit, it did literally happen out of nowhere. But you knew it was going to happen. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he pulled a gun on and went, I'm sorry, Burke. It literally just happened out of nowhere. So, is what it is. In that regard, she's dead. But then he quickly finds out, like, holy shit, she had a tape recorder and all this. And, if she told anyone that she was going to meet with Hard, that just incriminates him. And I could see Hard definitely going down for this in some capacity. Like Raquel ratting on him. But we'll have to wait and see. Raquel, Hard, it's dirty cop, but it's kind of something he had to do to protect his son at the end of the day, that's all this. But a good start to season 3, I would say. I'll give this an 8 out of 10. Very good. The war has been put on hold for now, but yeah, what an ending last season was. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this show. So until next time, your thoughts down below, and peace. Give me a hell yeah. Hope swim home.